So, hello again, everyone. It's a lovely sunny day out in Pembroke, and yeah, last couple of days I've seen an awful lot of swan activity down on the mill pond. So, it's time for another swan watch. Let's do swan watch.
So the wind was absolutely horrendous. I'm just going to do a bit of a voiceover because you wouldn't be able to hear what I was saying. So that little white blob there is Arianwyn, and I reckon that there must be an Iron. Don't know if she's down on eggs yet, or if I've definitely seen some nesting activity from her over the last week. So that's encouraging. That's our first one. So you can see there that's kind of an Iron's territory, and it's good because up until the last couple of weeks, lots of other swans have been in and around it. But as we've seen the nesting activity increasing, he has kind of become a bit more territorial, which is a bit unpleasant to watch sometimes. He's quite aggressive, but that's good because he's defending his territory for his partner and future signets. So further up, now you can't actually see anything in there at the minute, but through this week I've seen and the encouraging bits I've seen this at the same time. So there were two swans further up there. I think that Betsy and Berwin that are in there, I think they were in that group of swans down the bottom that were feeding. I've seen a lot of activity from them in there. That little bush over to the left, I've seen them in and around that. I've seen them hiding in there. Sometimes they're quite difficult to see, but a lot. There's plenty of bedding material there, but whether or not they choose to make it there, let's say that I reckon that's Carwin and Cariad there because, as you'll see in a minute, that area there is a bit better for them. So this is a little bit further up. That's what I was saying too. They've kind of hopped out. I have seen them using that area a lot, but I've seen them kind of in here, kind of in behind that fallen tree is where they're trying to get to. That's where they nested last year. Um, I don't know if it's possible to remove that tree. It will make their lives a lot easier. But that's I'm sure that that's Carwin and Cariad, and as you'll see in a minute, that's the area that they like. So this is the encouraging bit. It's a shame you couldn't hear what I was saying on this. If you look really carefully in there, you'll see a swan's head going up and down, and they are desperately trying to make a nest. Now, the encouraging bit here is this is a new couple. This is a new couple. It isn't any of the ones that we've seen before. They and if you look carefully, you will see a second head pop up in a second. So I didn't want to get too close. I didn't want to disturb. There you go. You can see two heads going up and down there now. So the worrying bit with this, as we've seen before, this is right next to the main path as you go down. Um, and the swans that have made nests on this side historically have always struggled. They've been disturbed and they tend to abandon nests. And that area there isn't particularly dry, but the encouraging bit is they've made a start. They made a start on nesting there, so fingers crossed. So as I look round, you can now see the other two have kind of gone into that nesting area up the top there as well. I think that that's Carwin and Carrier. Then um, they've either popped up and I hadn't seen them before, were they? But so the next bit we cross over the road, and I just wanted to kind of do a bit more of an update on what's happening around the town. So this is for me. This is really encouraging. There's a lot of work on. It looks like it's on schedule. There haven't been any major issues apart from when it started. Um, Lots of scaffolding going up. We've seen lots of like internal people turning up, electricians, plumbers, decorators. Seen lots of insulation going in. You see the scaffolding has come down around the boat shed. Now, if you look right down the end of the slipway there, you'll see a little white dot. I think that that is Dylan as well, and I'll show you where Delith is in a minute as well. But what I want to do is I want to just show some of the other work that's gone on around there. Now, they've done a fair bit of work on the path, and a lot of the shrubbery has been kind of cut back, not taken away because it's all still there, but a lot of that has been cut back, and that hasn't happened for the last couple of years. So I don't know if that's because of the landslip or it's just a coincidence, but time will tell on that. So as I got to this bit by here, that's my little dog. As I got to this bit by here, yesterday I stood by the water level was a lot lower yesterday, much lower, and you could see a good kind of foot, I guess, maybe 2 foot of, that rainbow kind of effect. It was a lot calmer yesterday. So, but you could see where the oil spill had kind of gone to the outsides and was like a thin film across the top. That had gone by Saturday afternoon. So that the area was quite clear. There was a faint whiff of it in the air. I'll be honest, there was a faint whiff, um, but you couldn't see any signs of it actually on the water, which was encouraging. Um, so if you're a visitor and that's the view that you're getting, that's really encouraging. So a little bit further along, this is where the work's been done. So I know not everybody will have walked this way and won't understand why this is important. When we had the floods just before Christmas, there was a light here at one point. I didn't want to go sticking my camera in people's back gardens, but that's the damage that's been done by people walking around the outside, and that's the damage that was done by the water. That is just where the water's taken that landslip away. Contractors are coming this week and kind of shored it up. Um, but yeah, you can see just how vulnerable those houses are kind of behind, but the work that's been done has been, excellent. We can now use the path again. This is the bit I don't understand. So when the contractors were in repairing that area further down, they stripped a load of shrubs and small plants out of this area as well. There was a skip around the corner there, and they just take, that was really good through summer. There was lots of wild plants there. There were new wildflowers coming. You can't really see it on there, but just up by here where they haven't taken anything away, there are small wildflowers growing here as well in this area. So it was definitely working. I'm hoping that there was enough seeds and bulbs and what have you to keep it going. But further around then, if I zoom in, there you go. There you'll see I think that is Delith, and that was probably Dilwyn around the other side. They've struggled because up until the last couple of weeks, um, the last of their brood from last year has been there, and I've seen them try to shoo her away quite a bit. They've looked as well in this area here. Now I've seen them on the pair of them in there together, kind of, I'm assuming testing it out because they normally nest further down to the right. That to me makes a lot more sense because if the footpath for that is up there. You can see the lamppost there. You can't really see anything from the footpath down by there, whereas there, you can sit on that seat and feed them, which is great for kids. I mean, lovely for kids and all of that. But we let's be honest, we started with 6, we ended up with 4. At one point, I thought that might have gone down to 3. That area there is much safer. But again, the good thing is, you might have seen a couple of swans landing on that area over the last couple of weeks, and he's absolutely stamped his authority on it. So back over the bridge again. This is just some of the work that's been done after the floods before Christmas. This area has been cleared and cleaned. There were a load of shrubs that were removed out of here that were preventing people getting in. So any rubbish build up there now can be cleaned really quickly. There's good access, you can see there, and it's very usable again. The good thing you can see around now, it'd be in my bonnet about this. So we planted some more trees, which I think is fantastic. But the last time this was done, the last twice trees were planted in Pembroke, they were wrecked inside a couple of weeks. They were vandalized. So here's the challenge. Can we leave those trees there long enough for them to grow? Time will tell. So a bit further down the stream, now they've done a really good job. You might just be able to see there this faint rainbow effect on the top, and that's remnants of the oil, then the oil spill. Um, you can see that it's moving fairly swiftly. That's that piece of rubbish in the river shows that it's actually moving quite quick. But you can just see there's still this bit of oil. It's a film. It's not a lot, but it's a film. And this is the danger with these spills, that you don't really appreciate how long it sticks around for and the damage that it does. It's going to be in that water system for a while. So a little bit there that I wasn't aware of before. There's been another bank collapse there underneath the car park. I don't know if that's recent. I don't know if that's been there a while, but I certainly haven't seen it for a while. But I normally walk through the middle of the field, so I don't usually get up and this close. So as you're walking down, there's tiny, tiny little pockets of this rainbow film across the top of the river. Um, I think the guys have done a fantastic job in clearing it up. They really have, because it's I'm led to believe it was quite obvious. I was down there Friday night, sorry. So I didn't see much of it there. I saw the team about 6 o'clock. I guess I was down there, so they were working up until then to clear that area. Those are the booms that they put out, and I'm assuming that's to absorb any oil that flows through at that point. That's where I saw them working anyway. So, like I say, I think they've done a really good job, a really, really good job of cleaning it all up. There's just in patches, you'll see these little bits of that rainbow effect on the top of the water, but it could have been so much worse from what I've seen. So this is on the lower part. This is on the foundry side of the over the bridge, over the footpath. And again, this is a much lower. You'll see the water is much lower on that, but you can just see little bits here and there again of um, little little hints of oil on the surface there. Say that stream is quite low. It is running quite quickly, but it is quite low. So anything that was there will be quite condensed. And this is right down the far end. This is opposite Grove School. Um, and if you look from there, it's put it into context. Lots of people are going to complain about council does this, council does that. Council's done a really good job, and Natural Resources Wales. Fair's fair. We credit where credit's due. They've cleaned up somebody else's mess in super quick time. And any damage that's been done has been minimized through their actions. So yeah, well done to them.
So that is Swanwatch for end of March. We are getting ready for another exciting year of Swanwatch. Hopefully, we're going to have a few more broods than we did last year. But yeah, if you're liking what you're seeing, please do like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, all the usual stuff. Makes a massive difference what we're doing, and hopefully I'll be back with the podcast this week. Loads of stuff to go through on the podcast, so stay tuned for that as well.